If you only do what's easy, life will be hard. But if you learn to do what's hard, life gets easier. That one truth can completely change how you live. The real battle isn't outside. It's in your own mind. Your brain is wired to avoid anything that feels uncomfortable, painful, or unfamiliar. That's why you keep pushing things off. That's why you keep doing what feels safe. But growth never happens in safety. Nothing improves when you keep choosing what's easy. This isn't a motivation problem. It's a decision problem. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to force your brain to do the hard things without waiting to feel ready. You'll learn how to stop overthinking, stop delaying, and start acting with purpose. This is for people who are tired of watching their potential go to waste. You're not weak. You're not broken. You just haven't learned how to lead your mind until now. This is how real change begins. Stay with it. Chapter 1. Tell your brain you're doing it, not asking. You've got to start telling your brain what's going to happen. Not ask, not suggest, not hope. You decide, you declare, and then you follow through. That's the beginning of all strength. You can't keep living your life negotiating with your own mind. Because the truth is, if you keep asking your brain for permission to do the hard things, it will almost always say no. Your brain loves comfort. It loves the easy way. It wants you to stay safe, relaxed, and unchanged. It wants to conserve energy. But the problem is that kind of thinking will keep you small. The first step to real growth is to understand this. Your brain isn't the boss unless you let it be. You are the one who makes the decisions. You are the one who sets the tone. You are the one who takes the lead. And it begins when you stop asking your brain, do I feel like doing this? And start saying, I'm doing this. That simple shift changes everything. As once you remove the option of negotiation, you also remove the excuses. You remove the space for fear to grow. You remove the temptation to wait for the perfect mood, the perfect timing, or the perfect motivation. You take action before doubt can step in. That's how progress is made. That's how strength is built. Not by asking if it feels right, but by doing it because it's right. So many people stay stuck because they're still trying to feel ready. They think they'll take action once the fear is gone, once they feel motivated. But here's the reality. They're never going to feel ready. And that's not a flaw. That's the system. The mind is designed to protect, not to push. So, if you want to break that cycle, you've got to start taking charge. You wake up in the morning and instead of rolling around in bed thinking, do I want to get up yet? You tell yourself, I'm getting up now. You've got work to do. Not because you feel inspired, but because you said you would. You've got a workout to finish. Not because your body feels light and strong, but because you made a commitment to yourself. You've got a project to start. Not because you've got the perfect plan, but because you know nothing gets better by waiting. This is the discipline of decision. And it's not just about showing up. It's about showing up with strength, with clarity, with purpose. You have to understand this. Discipline is not something you wait to feel. It's something you practice by doing. And it begins with the way you talk to yourself. It begins with the way you handle that voice in your head that says, maybe later. No, not later. Now, you don't need to feel like doing it. You just need to do it. Because every time you take action without asking for permission from your feelings, you're building a stronger version of yourself.
You're showing your brain that you're in charge. And over time, your brain adapts. It learns to follow your lead. It stops fighting you and starts working with you. But that only happens when you stay consistent. When you make decision after decision without waiting to be in the mood. When you start to see that your life isn't shaped by what you want, it's shaped by what you're willing to do without comfort. And that's what most people miss. They wait. They delay. They hope for easier days. But life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. You build mental muscle the same way you build physical muscle. By doing what's difficult, by choosing effort over ease, by telling your brain what's going to happen, and following through even when it pushes back. That's what separates the successful from the stuck, the disciplined from the drifting, the ones who grow from the ones who give up. You've got to learn to shut the door on doubt.
You've got to learn to stand firm when your emotions try to talk you out of action. You've got to learn to say, this is what I'm doing. And then do it without checking how you feel about it every 5 minutes. This is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being honest. It's about understanding that your feelings are not always aligned with your goals. Your brain is not always going to offer you support. Sometimes it will give you resistance. That's okay. You just don't have to follow it because that's what it means to grow up mentally. That's what it means to take responsibility for your path. You stop letting your brain run on autopilot. You stop letting your energy be drained by decisions that don't need to be made. You wake up and you act because action builds power. And once you get into that rhythm, something incredible starts to happen. You stop fearing hard things. You stop avoiding the challenge. You begin to crave it. Not because it's easy, but because it makes you better. Because it separates you from the old version of yourself. Because it brings you closer to who you're trying to become. Most people don't know how to deal with hard things because they've trained their brains to avoid them. You've got to do the opposite. You've got to teach your brain that discomfort is not a warning sign. It's a signal for growth. Every time you feel resistance, it's an invitation. An invitation to push through. An invitation to prove to yourself that you don't fold under pressure. An invitation to become someone you can respect. But it starts when you stop asking your brain for permission. When you stop treating your motivation like it's your master. When you stop letting hesitation have the final word. You are not here to live soft. You are not here to coast through life on low energy and wishful thinking. You are here to grow, to rise, to build, to lead. And that starts with your thoughts. That starts with your inner commands. That starts with how you respond to that voice that says you don't feel like it. Because if you keep listening to that voice, you'll always stay where you are. But if you challenge it, if you look it in the eye and say, I'm not asking, I'm doing, you create change, real change, the kind of change that compounds over time, the kind of change that makes you stronger day after day, and the kind of change that rewires your identity and reshapes your future. So the next time your brain says, I don't want to do that, you say, we're doing it anyway. You don't wait. You don't ask. You move. And that's when transformation starts. When you stop giving your brain the option to quit. When you stop asking for comfort and start demanding results. When you start living by action, not by emotion, you already have what it takes. You've just got to stop giving your brain the option to decide for you. You decide, you move, you lead. That's how you force your brain to do hard things. Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by deciding with strength and never looking back.